So this is the time of the year that people start to reflect, you know what, how did this last year go? Should I keep doing the same things in the next year? Should I make some changes? And so for me, you know, it felt this is the right time to start thinking about Flesh and Blood, thinking through what it's been like this last year, thinking about, you know, as we've opened thousands and thousands of packs here in the channel, what does it look like going into 2024? How do I feel about Flesh and Blood? And the big question, of course, will I actually continue Master Set Madness for heavy hitters? That's what we're going to talk about today as I do Master Set Madness now. And if for some reason you're here and you don't know what that is, it is where I try to open a complete master set of a Flesh and Blood set. I try and open one of every version of every card. And that's what we're doing here. We got this little Phantasma, and we're just pretending that we're going to get there with bright lights. We still got 2 cards left that elude us that we'll never probably ever find, but we're going to open another box or two. We'll do a case. We'll do a case today. But as I do this again, I've done this for a few sets, and with all that product opening, with all those boxes, let's just say I've got a fair amount of skin in this game. I got a fair amount. And so Flesh and Blood, it's kind of a big thing for me. It's not a little small thing that I think about every once in a while. It's something that takes up a lot of my time. I spend a lot of time looking at Flesh and Blood cards, opening them, buying them, selling them, all the fun jazz. So how do I feel about it going into 2024? And you know, I've actually had a little bit of hesitation on actually filming this, and what do I say and what do I really think about it? And so I got to myself, I gotta record it. I just gotta record it. We're gonna say it, whatever comes out, comes out. And I'm gonna try and come at it from 2 different angles. So one is more the Master Set Madness, collecting box openings, all that jazz. And then the second one is gameplay. And, you know, even though most of you who know me, I do more of the collecting space right now. That's what I'm into. That's what people know me for. And yet, at the same time, I really deeply care about the gameplay side of Flesh and Blood. You know, for me, collecting a game that isn't fun to play, it just doesn't make any sense. I don't want to collect things that aren't fun to play. Like that's why I'm doing card games and not sports cards or something like that, where that's just a picture. Anyways, so because of that, I actually want to start with the gameplay side of things. And as I said, you know, even this last year, I didn't get to go out and I didn't get to play as much as I wanted to. I made it to Baltimore for the Pro Tour. That was really fun. Made it to a couple other different events. And, you know, of course, we played some games outside of that as well, right? But overall for me, for gameplay, I feel like, me personally, my perspective is it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. It's not perfect. It's not, you know, everything is perfectly aligned in every direction, but I think it's pretty good. And I say that because, of course, there's always a conversation, right? There's always a conversation about what should be changed, what should be different, what needs to happen, what doesn't need to happen. And after, I mean, for me, so after I played card games, I've played card games for a long time, right? So for years, 20 years, I don't know, 25, you pick a number, I don't know, a long time. TCGs, CCGs, LCGs, then you play card games that are like board game versions. And the more that I've done that, like the more you just realize that it's a physically printed game, you know, meaning it's not all digital. They can't tweak it all the time, every time you want. And so because of that, it's physically printed. Some things are just going to be more powerful, more broken, more weaker. They're going to be like weak sauce. They're going to be like that more than they should for an optimal game, right? There isn't enough testing to make sure that kind of thing doesn't happen. And, you know, unless you're making some purely mathematical game, and, you know, that's just kind of boring, right? You need to have a little bit of spice, a little bit of interest. And of course, there's degrees, right? There's definitely degrees of what you can catch with testing and what you can't catch with testing. The more testing, you get a better result. But, you know, with Flesh and Blood being a super competitive game, and that being one of the mainstays of it, you know, that's why they have ban and restricted announcement, right? We just had one earlier this week, and it's funny, these things, I look at them and they're like, these announcements are the announcements that make and break dreams. At least that's how it feels every time I read the comments about one of them or read an article about it or a discussion. And you know, it's really these announcements, it's a good place to look and just get a good vibe for what the company's about, what Flesh and Blood's going to be about going forward. And, you know, do they make the right choice for every ban restricted announcement? I don't know. I don't know, and I don't think most people who make very clear statements about what should or what shouldn't change, I don't think they know necessarily either. And part of that is because we all have a vision in our mind specifically about what a game should or shouldn't be. Right? We all have this specific way kind of we want to play it. We want things to be as balanced as possible, or some people want to have more variation, more variety, more chance in it. And there's a variety of opinions. And so for me, though, the big thing that I'm looking for is kind of the framework of the company's ideas for what they're doing with these announcements. And for me, from my perspective, is I get the overall sense that I see a company that's testing, they're trying to make things work as good as possible for the game. They're not just making every decision based on dollars or different stuff. It seems like they really want the gameplay to be good. And you and I, we might disagree with certain choices on it, but the way that I look at it, it seems like they're trying. And they take a step and you wait and see what happens. And I don't know, like what else can I ask for in that? And so I'm pretty happy with it. I'm satisfied with it. I don't, again, necessarily agree with every choice that gets made. I don't disagree with every choice. I like a lot of them. But again, that goes back to it's a card game. It's a paper card game. And so any changes that they make, they're going to take a lot of time to implement. They take a lot of time to see the results from it. And that's something that is hard to just be patient for, right? And so I don't know, for me, I guess it's not as hard because I'm not going to as many events right now, I'll admit that. Hopefully going to change that in the future. But part of it for me is also that I'm patient with it and that I'm okay that the changes might take a little while to come through. I'm okay with the fact that the game will probably never, ever, ever be in the perfect spot where every little interaction, every card just feels amazing all the time because, again, it's printed on paper. It's just what a TCG is, and I'm okay with it. I'm happy with it. I like it. And I like the way the meta is shaping up right now. I'm excited, of course, that there's a new set coming up, and hopefully it just makes it even better and it's more exciting and we can see some new heroes just jump in and make some exciting splashes. Like I'm excited for it. The game's fun to play. I've enjoyed playing it. It's more fun than opening more system failures here. And you know, like I said, I'm really hoping to make more events next year. I'm hoping to play more. We have a calling coming here in Minneapolis. I'm excited for that. I plan to be there, and I do hope that I get to see a bunch of you there. Again, I haven't made it to a big event since Baltimore, so it's going to be fun. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to that. And so again, that's kind of my perspective on gameplay right now is, you know, yes, there's always conversations going on about what could be better, but I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good right now. I think it's fun. And, you know, from my perspective, I'm just going to focus on the formats that I like. And if there's a format that's, you know, not exactly my dream or my favorite place to play, or maybe my hero's living legend out of it, then, you know, I just won't worry about it. And I'll focus on what I can do and what I do enjoy. Now, collecting on the other side is a little bit different for me. And as I've said many times before in this channel, I love the Marvels. I love the Marvels. And since 2.0, FAB 2.0 has come out with Uprising, when I started Master Set Madness, opening the Marvels, getting those big pulls, just seeing the amazing art on them, that was one of the big draws to doing it, right? To having this whole Master Set Madness thing happen. And, you know, as I'm opening Bright Lights right now, it was a miss. You know, it was a miss on this front for as far as Marvels are concerned. And, you know, going back to the ban and restricted announcement and how the company would sometimes just say, hey, we made a mistake, didn't quite get it right. You know, I really appreciated that in a recent interview, James White said, you know, he wasn't happy with what happened with the Bright Lights Marvels. He wasn't happy with where they landed. I don't remember exactly how he said it, but I'm glad they said it. And I'm happy that someone's willing to just make a statement to say, you know what, that wasn't exactly quite what we hoped it would be. And, you know, he talked about how we wanted to have like that full art style is what a Marvel should be. And so I'm glad in the next set we've got a hero Marvel coming. I'm glad that it's full art, of course. And I have, again, I know we're not supposed to expect anything, but I have a sense, I'll use the word expectation. I have an expectation that LSS is gonna keep focusing on the full art Marvels. Whatever that's going to look like, I have no idea. And I don't expect that everyone will be a hero going forward, though I would like to see every hero have one in a booster box. You know, that's a whole nother story. And, you know, one of the reasons, I guess specifically with the heroes is I love Marvels. I really do prefer, though, that for the collectible cards in a set, the ones that you want to open boxes for, you want to see opened on Master Set Madness, I really like for those collectible cards to be the cards that people want to play. I want to collect a card game specifically because there's a game with it, and I want the chase cards to be the cards that are just fun to play. They're the cards that aren't just fun to play. That's not the right word. They're the cards that you want to play. They're the cards that do the really awesome things or just have that special meaning in a game that makes it memorable, makes it exciting. And again, that's why, you know, looking back at a Marvel hero for the next set, that's exactly what I want to see, right? It's the core component of the game. It's the hero. It's the card you put in the middle of the table. You know, that's the kind of card that I want to chase after. So far for Flesh and Blood, they've done a pretty good job on this, actually. And it's way better than some of the other games, right? You just go back to Kamigawa Neon Dynasty and Magic, and you got that Hinetsugo, you know, Neon Ink, whatever super chase card that's like a 4-cent regular rare that you know, who cares, right? It's like, it's just, that's the thing I never want to see. And, you know, again, Marvel Heroes, it's a card you want to use. And I love this War Machine. The art has not disappointed. It has not disappointed me in Flesh and Blood. I love it. Really great in Bright Lights. It's been great in every set this last year. Don't have any expectation that that is going to change. But as I've said before, it's going to be tough, very tough, to top the Marvel Angels in their glory. But I hope they try. I really do hope they try and shoot for the moon in 2024. But as I keep going through these boxes here, and I know I want to check something off the list so soon, but it might be a while. It might be a while. And part of that too is just thinking through, you know, for me, managing Master Set Madness this last year, and these openings, this crazy stuff, kind of what I really set as the foundation of this channel a year and a half ago. It was tough. It was actually pretty tough for Bright Lights. I've said this before. And, you know, there's a bunch of different factors you can go through and think about, and you can get stuck in that minefield. But I think the interesting thing about it has been the thing that makes Master Set Madness easier to do has also been the thing that makes it harder for me to do. And that's come down to actually the supply of Flesh and Blood in the market compared to the demand. And as most people have noticed, there's a pretty decent supply of boxes out there. Not just for Bright Lights, but from past recent sets. There's not been this sense of, oh man, I can't find a box, or it's hard to find a box. It's nothing like, of course, what's happening with Sorcery. Not saying that's what you need to have, but there's a lot of boxes that you can get out there. And there's a lot of boxes that you can find at really, really good prices if you're just looking for the cheapest box. And so what that's meant is, you know, big supply of boxes means that there are a lot of people who are willing to sell me boxes at a good price. And it also means that because there's so many boxes, they're not just selling them to me, they're selling to everyone. And as people do that, there's just a ton of weight, a ton of pressure on the prices of cards. And as you know, I don't get to keep my double Steel Street Enforcements all the time. From every opening I do have to sell a lot of these cards I open because I can't keep them. And it's that cycle, rinse, and repeat, which allows me to try and chase this totally wild dream of actually opening up a master set. I should have done it in Welcome to Wraith when it was easier, or Arcane Rising, but alas, here we are. And we're going with Tech Leviathan. But it was hard for me, even just this last month, if I'm honest, it was kind of hard to see so many boxes being just dumped in the market. Right, my very first initial reaction is like, oh my goodness, go get something, and awesome, great prices. And then as I saw kind of big store after big store just kind of do these big holiday sales below map of big dumping, sometimes even using creative ways to pre-dump some heavy hitters boxes. I don't know, it was hard for me to watch, and I don't blame any stores or any individuals or anything for that, because when you have something and you just got to move it, sometimes you got to do what you got to do to move it. But it just wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't fun for me to watch. And part of that is, if I'm just honest, of course, it's because of opening all these boxes, and the things that I open, I want to have some value so that I can open more boxes. And I don't need to make money on each box. I don't need to make money, you know. I would just like to be kind of close. Being kind of close makes this work, you know. Let's put it that way. And so it was a little, I don't know, in a way, it almost made the collecting side, even outside of Master Set Madness, it just made it feel a little less fun for me to see that. It's more fun to collect something when you get the sense and the feeling that everybody else really wants to collect it too. And so, again, this is just a perspective, feeling, you know, whatever. It's not based on numbers or specific facts, but as you see cards kind of get dumped along, as you see things get moved out quickly, you just don't really have that feeling of, wow, people are really digging in on this, and there's just something they want to hang on to. It's more of a, let's get that asset out the door because it's not selling, it's not moving, it's not doing anything. So we got to just kind of get out. Or even with some of the heavy hitter stuff, seeing some people just try and dump it. It's just not super exciting. Even with that, I have had a lot of fun collecting this year. I've had a lot of fun opening packs, and I've opened a ton of them. Now we've had, of course, some ups and downs with Outsiders getting the worst Marvel pull rate I think anybody's ever gotten. That was pretty terrible. But at the same time, you know, pre-quivers becoming $5 a piece. Oh man, it was fun. It was fun chasing them, and the art, again, as usual, amazing. Cold foils extended, like, it was fun. I had a fun time opening Outsiders. I had a really fun time opening Dusk Till Dawn because, again, Angels is just amazing. It was really fun to collect that set. It's almost in the binder. We're almost there. Oh, and then, ooh, look at this. And opening stuff like this. This is fun. I like seeing some foil Tome of Imperial Flames. Feel like we've opened a few of those here in the last little bit of time. So, like, this is fun. I have fun opening Bright Lights. I like the cards. I want a set still of everything. Like, I still like it. Even though, again, I don't agree with every little detail of every little idea, of every little piece of everything, still like it. It's still fun. Collecting is still an enjoyable experience. And so maybe what's been hard for me as I thought about making this video, just hard to get started on it, was maybe having this sense or feeling like I've got to say, wow, Fab is in the best, most amazing spot ever. It's great. Awesome. I got this channel. Like, you know, just really hype things up and be super gung-ho about everything. Or kind of feeling like, well, you got to be more on that other side where it's like, you know what, if Flesh and Blood, if they don't fix these 3 things in 2024, then everything's going downhill. Nothing's going to happen. Nobody's going to play it. Nobody's going to collect it. And if you've been around, you know I'm just not there. I don't like to live in those extremes all the time because that's not how life is a lot, right? A lot of times there's a lot of good. There's a lot of things that aren't good. And then it's just a whole bunch in between. And when I look at Flesh and Blood, when I look at it, I see way, for me personally, I see way more good than I see not good. And I think Flesh and Blood's in a great place. And at the same time, that doesn't mean that I don't have any things I want to change or different stuff. And I think most people get that. I think most people kind of understand that more nuanced idea that, you know what, Not everything for something is going to be perfect all the time. The TikTok clock doesn't always tick the way you want it to, and that's okay. It's okay. Like it's okay, and things might get better. Things might not. They might stay the same, but overall it's a fun game to play. It's a fun game to collect, and you know, if you're just looking for some good priced cards, there's a lot of good priced cards out there right now. Which is, yeah, I mean, it's funny. It's bad in one way because it means I get less when I sell the box. But then if I want to buy some singles, then they cost less. So it's, you know, it comes out somewhat even in the end, I guess. But I still like it. I still like Flesh and Blood. I think it's fun. I want to go play more next year. I want to go to the Calling in Minneapolis because it's very easy to get to. But I'd love to try to get some other places as well if I can. And so we'll see what happens. And you know, again, as I've thought a lot about, do I do heavy hitters, Master Set Madness? Is this little dream thing we're doing, is it even worth trying? Is it crazy? Should it be cut out forever? And you know what? I'm going to give it one more shot. I'm going to give it another big shot. Master Set Madness for heavy hitters. It's happening. It is going to happen. Again, I still like opening boxes. I still like the fun. I still like the chase. And I still think there's an opportunity to make it really work, really function well. So I'm going to give it one more big shot for heavy hitters to see what happens. And I want it to be as much fun for all of you as it is for me. I love opening boxes, and I want that to be a good experience for people, despite some of the valuations and different things that happen when you open boxes. I know there's been conversations about that and other big YouTube channels about whether you should or shouldn't open a box. I still love opening boxes. I still think it's a key core part of a TCG. And so for heavy hitters, I'm going all in. I'm going to try and make it fun. And so I'm going to do actually a couple different things with it. Of course, I'm going to keep doing the second chance box breaks for it. So 8 people open a box, 1 box each. The person with the lowest value gets a second chance box for their break. They just, because again, it's terrible getting that worst box. So if you get that worst box, you do get another chance. You get a whole nother box. I think it's pretty fun, pretty awesome. And then I want to do something too for sealed cases. So if you go onto mastersetmadness.com and you buy a sealed case box break from me, what I'm going to do is, well, of course, we're going to open it up in the channel here, live stream it, and if your case has under $200 in value in it, I will open another box for you then as well. Case breaks are fun, and sometimes you open up a case that's worth $300, $400, $500, $600 in value, depending on the set. Like, it can happen. That kind of stuff happens. But at the same time, despite what some people might say, you can also open cases that are worth $100, $150, and that just feels really, really bad when you open up a case of cards. Like a case, you expect a little bit of something. So that's what I want to try and change to make it a little bit more fun. You still get the excitement of, okay, I'm getting some boxes and I get a chance at something, but I want to take away kind of that bottom level. I want to raise the bottom up so that you're not going to get a super, super terrible case. So if those sound good to you, you can check them out over at my website, mastersetmadness.com. Of course, I'm going to have lots of singles for heavy hitters. I will have play sets. I'm going to try play sets again. And I'm also just going to have lots for a big lot, 1,000 cards, common and rares. You may not get a full play set, but I'll sell it to you for cheaper because I don't have to sort it. And you're actually going to get more cards from that than from buying a play set, but I have that available too for heavy hitters. We're going to have pack battles we're going to try again. And right now I have all the singles on Master Set Madness at 10% off. So go ahead and check that out. And of course, for every $10 you spend on mastersetmadness.com before Heavy Hitters is released, get you an entry into winning a free box of heavy hitters that'll open up on the channel. Anyways, that's a whole lot to say. No luck here in this case for making progress on our set, but I'm still liking FAB. I'm looking forward to 2024. I'm looking forward to it hopefully being bigger and better even than this year. So Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of this. Of course, if you support the channel through buying things off my website, through watching the video, through hitting the like button, from pressing subscribe, whatever you do, or if you're a patron, appreciate you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.